Well, I hope everybody made it through a Super Bowl weekend, whether you had a festive party or maybe you just got hammered at home or, you were on at some bar somewhere.
Right.
We hope you are good to go. The game was boring as hell, let's be honest.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, we have crowned another Super Bowl champion. In Seattle, congratulations to Seahawks fans. Let's hope next year we're talking about the Falcons. And I know it seems far-fetched with everything that's going on right now, especially coming off the weekend, Mike, with the James Pearce Jr. situation. We're going to spend a lot of time on it today, talking about it, what it may mean for the Falcons moving forward. The assistants are actually going to talk this week, so it's the first time we get a chance to hear the OC and the DC from the Falcons and this new staff. So I'm curious to hear what that's going to sound like coming up, I think, on Wednesday. But, Mike, first and foremost, let's start with the Super Bowl, and then we'll get into some of this Falcon conversation. We also have Anseh Saleh today, guys. He is the Hawks general manager. He will join us at 4 o'clock. Hawks coming off of a loss against Charlotte on Saturday. They will play the T-Wolves tonight, and then at Charlotte on Wednesday. Big couple of games, but we'll get to that. Mike, your impressions of last night, man. How was it?
Yeah, I mean, my party was a rager, man. We killed it, man. It was the party on the South Side. But the game was just a real clunker. It reminded me of the Rams and the Patriots here in Atlanta a couple years back, the 13-3. Just could not get anything going, and it goes basically for both teams, 9-0. Carl and I were just talking before the pre-show, and one of the picks that I always loved, and I know you liked it too, was the under in the first half, and it was way under. And the game itself, it just the Patriots, and I said this last week. If Bo Nix doesn't get hurt, Denver's in the Super Bowl, and we have a completely different game. I mean, it would be a really good defense. Again, that Denver would bring like New England, but it's almost like we didn't want to see the Saints here in Atlanta, and a Saints-Patriots would have been a hell of a better game than that Rams, and I believe that. Either way, credit to Seattle. They built a tremendous defense. That general manager's built a couple of Super Bowl winning teams. Centennial High School coach Mike McDonald gets the win, and Darnold and the Seahawks, kind of like the Broncos game, no reason to push it when you've got control. And just kind of a lot of field goals.
Yeah, you know what? And Day-Day, it was a boring game, but this is what I loved about Seattle last night. And Mike McDonald, he wasn't going to tempt his fate with pushing the limits with Sam Darnold and putting it in the air. Darnold only threw for 200 yards, guys. I mean, that's a measly nothing in a Super Bowl,
right?
In any Sunday game. But he wasn't going to push the limits. And he gave it to his running back, Day-Day, 27 times. I don't give a damn what we're doing. They can't score. They can't get a first down. We're just going to run the ball. And sometimes, Mike, the reason why I bring that up is, sorry, Falcon fans, coaches outsmart themselves. They want to do too much. They want to throw the ball when you should just run the ball. Run clock when you're giving up 3 downs and you're punting it away. And that was what impressed me last night. Never in the game did he feel like he was going away from what was working, regardless of what the score was. Day-Day.
No, and like you said, to you guys' point, man, it was initially it didn't feel boring. It just felt like two defenses really holding their own. But then it became very evident that New England's offense was not going to be able to score. And then that's what turned the game into a boring game because, I felt so bad. I don't know if you guys caught this one particular shot. It was either late third quarter or early fourth quarter, but Patriots offense goes out. I think it was a 3-and-out again. And it was one of those B-roll shots as they're going to commercial. Every last defensive lineman put their head down like, oh, my God, we're going back on the field already.
Right.
And it was just so, I felt so bad. It was so deflating to see that image. But it became so evident that the Patriots offense had no answers whatsoever. I wonder if they got away from using, Carl, what you brought up last week, Drake May and his escapability. When you talked about escapability last night, it was actually Sam Darnold who was able to really he didn't do a whole lot with his legs, but just slight moves in the pocket that allowed him to, help complete some passes down the field for first downs in critical third down situations, second down situations. So, yeah, it unfortunately became a boring game to watch. My wife was sitting next to me, and she was just like, "Yeah, I see why you didn't want to have a Super Bowl party."
The game itself, as fans who don't have a dog in the fight, right? I mean, we're talking about it obviously because it's the NFL and it's the biggest game of any sport, but if you don't have a dog in the fight, all you want to do is be entertained. And I know there were millions of fans last night who necessarily were not. We will talk about Bad Bunny on the show and the Super Bowl halftime, the commercials. We'll get to all of that as we expand this conversation a little bit later on today. This is our Behind the Curtain show, guys. It's Dukes and Bell. Day-Day's with this Big O. Will be on the show with us today starting at 2. Also, Brandon Hutchinson, who is the general manager and executive vice president of Echo Park, is going to join us, Mike, as we get ready for NASCAR, by the way. And they're a big supporter of what's going on and the expansion of NASCAR.
Less than 2 weeks of the Atlanta race. We get Daytona on Sunday, and then the follow-up. And again, hopefully get some good weather here. It's the second race of the season coming to what was AMS, now, of course, Echo Park Speedway.
All right, so that's going to happen today. Anse Saleh is going to join us as well, Hawks general manager. Let's get to what everybody's talking about, not just in Atlanta, but around the country when it comes to outside the Super Bowl. And it's ironic because if this story happened any other weekend, it would have been top of the news, top of headline, everything. But because it was Super Bowl and all the stuff that was going on, James Pearce Jr., guys, arrested over the weekend. This is not a discussion about his talent. We know what he is on the field. This is a discussion, Mike, of the court of public opinion and what this team and what the league is going to do. Now, we're not saying he's guilty because we don't know. Well, that all has to be proven. But, Mike, this looks absolutely effing terrible.
Right. I know his lawyer, Day and I were just talking about it before our pre-show about his lawyer saying he looks forward to, he's going to plead it. Okay. I mean, as you said, we don't know what happened behind closed doors, but we do know what happened outdoors, and outdoors is on camera. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you what, man, he's lucky he didn't get shot. He is lucky he didn't get shot by cops in Doral. You've seen the video, and it's just terrible. And again, using the car as a weapon. I mean, you're smashing your car into your ex-girlfriend's ride, and the cops, you winged a cop in the knee trying to drive away. So, I mean, the optics on this are terrible. The Falcons, again, I don't know if he's ever going to play again for the Falcons, let alone in the NFL. He will have his day in court. There will be, regardless, even if he comes out on the right side of this, there'll still be a suspension. But it's hard to see him coming out on the right side based on what we go with now. But again, it sucks. We knew that there was they talked about off the field stuff before the draft, and they said they completely vetted him. And I wasn't trying to be glib, Day and Carl, but it's almost like Terry Fontenot's final shot, like the ghost of our previous regime, because you just, as a Falcon fan, you woke up on Sunday, you saw it Saturday night. You can't believe this. We finally get a stud edge rusher, and now he's basically potentially ruined his career.
Day, I'll let you go, and then I'll address the Pierce questionable character stuff. Well, what did you think as this news hit over the weekend? First, I'll be honest, real talk. I was pissed off because I'm like, great. Everything is vibing and moving in such a positive direction. Matt, the way Matt's handled things as the president of football, we get a general manager that's well respected, and people around the football world are like, y'all got a good GM. This is going to work. The Kevin Stefanski thing is slowly but surely moving in the right direction. Like, fans are like, okay, shit, maybe it wasn't his fault in Cleveland. Maybe he is better than I expected. And then you have this happen, and it just puts a bad light on the franchise. But more importantly, he reps Atlanta. And that's the thing. All these professional athletes rep the city you're in. And when we've already had a history of bad stuff happening with professional athletes in our city, and we know what the worst was, it's just hard, man, for Falcon fans to be like, damn, can we ever have anything nice? Day, what was your feeling initially when you heard this over the weekend?
Sad and disappointment. For me, guys, I look at a lot of this stuff probably like some other people do, and maybe you guys do at times as well. But because, and I didn't cover James Pearce Jr. when he was in high school, but because I cover so much high school related, sports, then when I see guys get caught up, and I know right now technically everything is alleged, but when I see guys get caught up in these types of situations, I just don't understand. You work so hard to get here. You let in his case, multiple decisions potentially just take all of that away from you. I Googled immediately when I saw it. I mean, this is, first of all, it's in Florida. If he were to be convicted on these charges, the aggravated battery alone with the aggravated battery with the weapon, one count of that alone can carry a max of 15 years. So like I said, for me, it always hurts me to see these guys get caught in this because the first thing is I just don't understand why you put in all that work for all those years to let some bad decisions take it all away from you. So that I'll leave it at that for me. It's very disappointing. We'll let it play out in the courts. It's very evident that, if he does get any type of time, like his time with the Falcons is pretty much going to be probably done at that point.
Yeah, and it puts us in a bind, right? I mean, you wasted potentially a first round pick on a guy that you got one really good season out of, and as Mike said, he will be suspended. I mean, that part we know. All right, history in the league already tells us, regardless even if all the charges are dropped, the NFL still does its own investigation. He will be suspended. So let's just say he's missing 5-6 games, whatever it's going to be. Ask Rashee Rice, who basically wrecked a car and almost killed people on a highway and then tried to abandon it. You're going to miss him at some point for next season. And then the Falcons have to make a decision on what they want to do and feel comfortable. And listen, Matt doesn't have to – if he don't want to deal with this, he doesn't have to deal with this, right? He ain't Cunningham. Like, this is on their watch now. So they don't have to deal with this. And when we get to the show, we'll talk more about James as a person and all this stuff. But I will say this, Dede, to your point about working hard. Mike, we have had this discussion privately and certainly some publicly. We've all lost our minds, fellas, over a woman. All of us. If you've ever been in love just a little bit, and you probably have done some emotional stuff that you look back at and you're like, damn, I probably shouldn't have went there. Right. Even if it was slamming a door, okay? I'm not saying putting your hands on a woman. That's inexcusable. But chasing a woman, trying to track her down, calling her over and over, doing stupid stuff that as a young man, we look back at and we go, man, what the hell was I doing? So Dede, as full-grown men, we look at this differently than a guy that's 21, 22, 23 who is caught up, right? And they were dating. She's a WNBA star, and we don't know the dynamics of the relationship, but I just will simply say that part of it is the growing process. And you hope that James never puts himself in this position again and he learns from it. But we've all been young and in love or young and crazy about a woman, Mike, and we've done some dumb things, and I'm not excusing this behavior by any stretch. But I just look back and I go, man, that could have gone left. That could have gone wrong. And for James, that's exactly what happened. The resisting the arrest, though, Mike, that's the part where you go, what are you doing?
Well, I mean, like he's playing demolition derby with a Lamborghini on his ex-girlfriend's ride. I mean, he could have killed her. I mean, that's where, like I said, we always, because, we've seen it go both ways to Carl's point. But there's got to be some incredible extenuating circumstances for anybody to give him the benefit of the doubt after what you saw on Sunday morning when the video came out. Not to mention, look, my first reaction, guys, like, what do you do if you're Matt Ryan? I said, well, the statement's going to be, we hope that, he gets some help with his mental health, and we'll let the legal process play out. But the problem is, we needed to nip this in the bud if this guy had these issues. And that's why when you and I said, it's so vague pre-draft when somebody goes off the field issues, what specifically? What did he do? What are we talking about here? And we never got any specifics on that. So was he a hothead? We always talk about wanting a guy with edge. We don't want a team of Boy Scouts, but you can't have this, And so now, in all likelihood, he's probably done as a Falcon, and we'll see how long it takes him with the legal process. But he won't be at Falcons camp. He will not be playing for the Falcons as this whole situation plays out. And then we don't know if he's going to be in jail for 5 to 10 years to Dede's point. So it's a damn waste of talent.
I'll tell you what it was. I'll tell you today, starting at 2. I'll tell you exactly what it was. I was very vague when we were in the draft process last year because people were telling me it will be fine. So I didn't want to kill the kid, but he had issues, and it's documented. And people on the Tennessee coaching staff knew, and people in the NFL knew. And it's why now everybody's saying, well, multiple teams took him off their draft board. Why? I'll tell you what I know coming up today at 2:00.
Well, that's a tease. I will definitely tune into that show.
Well, and here's the deal. Again, it doesn't get back to the kid's not a great player, Mike. What we're weighing is 4'4", 6'5", 250, right? 10.5 sacks, rookie season record for the Falcons. You look at that, and it's way up here. And then you go, well, man, I don't know. He's done some stuff I don't know about. We can overlook this. And that's what we did. We overlooked this thinking it wouldn't come back to bite us in the ass. The talent is there, but he's not the first dude in the NFL to have multiple, incredible talent and then be a screw up potentially. So I don't want to judge the kid for his entire life, Mike. It's just this moment where you've now put our team in a situation where they got to make a serious decision, and it sets us back. Guys, we don't have a first-round pick this year. If James Pearce Jr. is not with this team, Mike, that's two guys.
Like I said, I mean, Fontenot isn't here, as we said. You can't have it both ways. Like we love the production. The ultimate irony here is Mother's on stage just a few days before this goes down. NFL awards talking about what a great kid he is. And then if there was pre-draft concerns about him, having anger issues and all that, I mean, we're supposed to vet it. That's why Fontenot got fired, because this will be, like I said, the final. The ghost of Terry Fontenot reaching out to screw us up again. And it's a damn shame, because this is why teams, you hear these things. And again, it's vague. We don't want to run with something serious. Carl's going to talk about it later. But obviously there were legitimate concerns about James Pearce Jr. pre-draft, because we're seeing
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, man. We will get into Hawks, who lost on Saturday. As we mentioned, Anseh Soleil is going to join us. Brandon Hutchinson from Echo Park is going to join us. Big Monday show. Plenty more about the Super Bowl, our thoughts, and all the things that went on, guys. We'll get into our favorite commercials, too. There were some commercials. Mike was right. He talked about it last week. Little edge, a little back to, we don't care about hurting your feelings or thinking you're offended.
Right.
We're going to do this. And I'm glad we're moving back to that, because that's what comedy and making us laugh is all about. Sometimes we got to make fun of ourselves. All right, man. We'll talk to you guys at 2:00 on Sports Radio 92.9 The Game. Take care.